Peg Legs, Alien, and Nameless. It's episode 50.
It's the Brainiac Top 10 in 10. Here's the owner of Brainiac Trivia, John Boyce, and his favorite 10 questions of the week.
Hey guys, over the last week I hosted 10 trivia games, and what follows are my favorite 10 in 10 minutes or less.
Number 10.
The answer starts with the letter G. Although not the same exact spelling, what long-running television drama shares its name with a book from 1858 that has now been revised 42 times? That would be Grey's Anatomy. One spelled G-R-A-Y and the other spelled G-R-E-Y. I am fairly confident that the television show Grey's Anatomy will make it to 42 seasons.
Number 9.
Entertainment at number 9. What was the very first fantasy film to win Best Picture at the Oscars? From 2003, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
Number 8.
We're going to get into multiple choice for the next 3 questions. Here at number 8, which president was once gifted a giant wheel of cheese that stank up the White House for over a year before the president begged citizens to come over to the White House and eat it? Andrew Jackson, George Washington, or John Quincy Adams? Which of the following presidents was once gifted a giant wheel of cheese that stank up the White House for over a year before he begged citizens to come over to the White House and eat it? Andrew Jackson, George Washington, or John Quincy Adams? Andrew Jackson. First off, why did you keep it for that long? Second, weird to think that people were just invited over to the White House all willy-nilly like that. And third with this is one of the questions why I love trivia so much. George Washington never stepped foot in the White House. There was no White House when George Washington was president. So if you know that fact, then you can at least eliminate one. I think that's a smart way to play.
Number 7.
Sticking in multiple choice, which of the following presidents had a daughter banned from the White House after it was discovered she had buried a voodoo doll of the incoming president's wife on the White House grounds? William McKinley, Chester Arthur, or Theodore Roosevelt? Which of the following presidents had a daughter banned from the White House after it was discovered she had buried a voodoo doll of the incoming president's wife on White House grounds? William McKinley, Chester Arthur, or Theodore Roosevelt? Theodore Roosevelt. His daughter's name was Alice Roosevelt. Pretty crazy.
Number 6.
All right, one more from multiple choice. Which movie star had a clause in his divorce that his ex-wife could not publicly date for 5 years? One that she actually agreed to. Brad Pitt, Alec Baldwin, or Tom Cruise? Which of the following movie stars had a clause in his divorce that his ex-wife could not publicly date for 5 years? One that she actually agreed to. Brad Pitt, Alec Baldwin, or Tom Cruise? Katie Holmes was so ready to get out of Dodge from Tom Cruise that she said, "Look, dude, I won't even bring a boyfriend out in public for 5 years." She also agreed to not talk about his religion, Scientology, which I would have added to the question, but it would have been a dead giveaway.
Number 5.
Arts and literature. As we get into the top 5, the modern English language was derived from an alphabet that was used solely for communication of slave owners to their slaves. In what country? The modern English language was derived from an alphabet that was used solely for communication of slave owners to their slaves. In what country? Egypt. Hey, if you want those pyramids built, you're going to have to be able to communicate.
Number 4.
50-50 shot here at number 4, fact or crap. In the original 1979 movie Alien, ripped condoms were used for the tendons of the jawline of the alien. Fact or crap?
That's the fact, Jack! That's the fact, Jack!
File that one under movie magic. Pretty fun. After I asked that question, I actually threw a picture of the alien and its tendons on the big screen.
Number 3.
At number 3, true crime. What U.S. vice president killed a man during a duel while in office and had all charges dropped? What U.S. vice president killed a man during a duel while in office and had all charges dropped? Aaron Burr is the correct answer. He was the vice president to Thomas Jefferson.
Number 2.
50-50 shot again here, fact or crap. According to Long John Silver policy, any customer bearing a real hook arm or peg leg will get their meal for free. Fact or crap? According to Long John Silver policy, any customer wearing a real hook arm or peg leg gets their meal for free. Yeah, that one's not true. I made that one up out of thin air. And then, funny enough, actually did a little research to make sure that that wasn't true. But I tell you, pretty genius marketing, Long John Silver. Might want to tune into the podcast.
Number 1.
All right, my favorite question of the week, geography. After several applications containing other names were turned down by the U.S. Post Office, a small community in what U.S. state was officially called Nameless from 1880 to 1945. After several applications containing other names were turned down by the U.S. Post Office, a small community in what U.S. state was officially called Nameless from 1880 to 1945? From 1880 to 1945, you could find Nameless in the great state of Texas. So think about this. That was through both World Wars. So imagine you're a young man from Nameless, Texas, and you're trying to write a letter back home to mom and dad or, that sweetheart you got, and it never gets there because the post office doesn't think that it exists. So a post office was established at Nameless in 1880 and remained in operation for 10 years. The locals ended up with the name Nameless after several applications containing other names were turned down by that post office. Nameless was first populated by Scotch-Irish settlers. When the township was being organized, townspeople attempted to submit names, one of which was Fairview, pretty common, to the post office for recognition as a town. That is actually how they did it during that time. The post office repeatedly denied various names, but not because they didn't like them, simply all the names they were asking for were claimed. In a fitting rebuke, this is the best part. In a fitting rebuke, the citizens replied in disgust, quote, "Let the post office be nameless and be damned." Thus, the town of Nameless was born. Eventually, it became part of the city Linder, and the Nameless School was closed in 1945. It was restored back in 2008, and along with the Nameless Cemetery, that is all that is left of the Nameless community. Trivia is way more fun in person, guys. 5 weekly locations for you here locally. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Brainiac Trivia to keep up with those locations and be on the lookout for more podcast episodes. You can also tune in to 98.9 FM daily to hear the Brainiac Trivia Minute. Those air on 98.9 FM at 9:10 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Thanks for tuning in. I'm John Boyce, and this has been the Brainiac Trivia Top 10 in 10.
You know what? I will have some meatloaf. Let's have some meatloaf.
You want some?
Yes. I knew you'd come. Hey, Mom! The meatloaf! We want it now! The meatloaf!